Welcome, Dima. How are you?
Hi, Selena. I'm sorry I'm late. I jumped from another one and I was trying to join from my computer, which I just updated. Just got it yesterday and I don't know if I have to relog into Zoom because it's not letting me go in from this new one.
Not a problem.
Anyway,
Glad that you're here. And I wanted to thank you as well for being part of the committee to launch the Giving Circle. We're really excited to do an event on Clubhouse. So really today's conversation is about, that event, starting to publicize it. We will have a few designs for our logo later today, and we will share that with everyone, and you guys can provide feedback and input, and we can then put that on a flyer going forward. So there's a few steps before we have a flyer, but I think we're really close to it. And for the event on Clubhouse, are all of you on it? Does anybody need invites? Where are we at on that aspect?
and I have extra invites as well if anybody needs
Perfect.
it. Yeah.
Okay, so I'm assuming everyone's on Clubhouse then, if nobody's saying anything.
So I'm actually not. It's a new platform for me, so I have not heard about it before.
Okay, do you have an iPhone?
Yeah.
Perfect. So I'll send you an invite.
Okay.
And I just started using it like last month, so it's really interesting. It's like an audio only platform where it's like live conversations. So people can host a room and invite people to that room, and there's clubs. So people follow different clubs, and whenever they have topics, they can tap in and listen to the conversation. And then it's like a moderated forum where you can be on the stage, and that's when you can speak. And yeah, so it's really unique. There's a lot of users on it. There's a community as well. So hopefully it'll be a unique way for us to launch it. But I would also like to look into if you've heard of any ways to cross promote the event, like on a Zoom, and have the people who are presenting on the Zoom as well. I just don't know logistically if that works, or if anybody has heard of anybody doing concurrent events on Clubhouse and another platform.
So for me, a couple of days ago, I know there was someone, I forgot what club, but they did a joint room with Zoom, but they had to give fair warning to everyone. I mean, to be fair, everything that's being said on Clubhouse is recorded. I hope everyone knows that. Like, nothing is confidential. Honestly, people were a little bit in shock to know that there's a privacy concern, but anything you say on Clubhouse is recorded. So as long as you're recording something and you're broadcasting it, whether it's Zoom or any other platform, you're required to tell everyone in that room that it's being pre-recorded and it's being broadcasted elsewhere. I'm not too sure exactly what platform he used. I could definitely ask, but I've seen it though. That's what I'm trying to say.
And what I have noticed that I think every day when you go onto Clubhouse, there's always one room that is teaching us about Clubhouse, always. And I think you learn new things just by being there, almost every day.
All right, so in the chat, I just sent the two main documents that we have. One is a planning document that Afshan and a few others have been really great on updating content, kind of the planning process for this Giving Circle. And then the other is the live website. So, the site is live, donations can be made. We are encouraging people, if they wanted to make quarterly payments, to do so by the end of this month in the amount of $105, or a one-time payment of $420 by the end of May. So this way it gives people through Ramadan to make their membership. At the end of that planning document, there's a table. And that table is critical to just kind of understand the timeline. And when you're talking to friends, explaining how it works. So again, we're accepting members now. I would encourage each of you to make your membership pledge as soon as possible. And then when you invite more people to it, you can explain the process of how it worked and everything like that a little bit more easier.
Well, can you clarify there? If we're allowing payments to be made on a quarterly basis, we're saying that we're accepting payments through the end of this year, correct? Or
yeah, so only for people who needed to make it on like a quarterly basis or a monthly basis, right? So we will be actually giving the funds out to the charity in September. So it's with the understanding that these are recurring automated donations. So we will collect the full amount by the end of December.
So moving, oh, sorry, go ahead. I'm sorry.
Sorry, I was just clicking on the link, and so I see, I think it's like, where you do the pull down and you pull down and select that you want to give to the American Muslim Giving Circle. And then there's a whole thing on zakah, but I don't think we discussed or did we confirm whether the charities we're going to choose are going to be zakah eligible? Because some people might say yes, some people might say no.
Yeah, so we can run a report that shows how much of the overall funds are zakat versus not. And if a significant majority is not zakat, then obviously we'll have to have a conversation around, let's make sure that this goes to a charity that is just like for sadaqah or something. But my understanding is that majority of them will likely be zakat. But I think in reviewing the charities and the charities that you all invite to apply, just seeing if they have their zakat eligibility would be the preference.
Is there a way to, I'm just thinking in order to make it easier, like not to have that, like for us, for example, that way as a group, people can decide. Is that going to complicate things if we have this, this choice of whether we want it to be zakat or not?
I think it's best to let the people decide on their own how they want to allocate their funding. And then, like I said, we can run a report pretty easily to say, okay, of the 100 people that participated, only 10 were not zakat, right? And then at that point, we'll be able to say, okay, we can select a charity that one of the 3 charities that we select can be a non-zakat eligible one.
Okay.
Yeah. So I think once people give, that'll inform how we select the 3 as well.
Or we always make sure we choose one zakat eligible.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah.
I know this is maybe going too deep into it, but a lot of times with the zakat eligible and ineligible, there's a difference of opinion as well. So like I can tell you my beliefs may vary from yours. And, I look at certain charities as if it's dawah, like spreading dawah, giving dawah, then to me, that's zakat, but everybody has a difference of opinion. So it's kind of best to just, sometimes it's like very obvious and sometimes not so obvious. So getting into that nitty gritty is a kind of it's tough. But I wanted to actually ask in terms of, so just so that I have clarification, because I haven't really been up to date on what you guys are working on behind the scenes. So just, can you give me like the rundown basics of how you would pitch this to somebody in terms of joining? Because I'm still kind of confused on the whole process. I understand the amount that you have to contribute to. It's like 420, 425? What was it?
420.
Okay. So to pay for the year, it's 420 or quarterly 105.
Yep.
And then you donate. The way to donate is that site, the American Women's Giving Circle site.
Mhm.
That's how you make your donation. Okay, so
Yep.
I'll do that at the end. And then from there, for the entire year, you're you're only voting one time. There's only one meeting per se, correct?
Right. So
Okay.
in that timeline, our launch will be on the 26th of March. And then the deadline to join is May 31st. We're asking all the members to nominate an organization by June 6th. And then we're going to ask the nonprofits to start submitting by June 14th. And their deadline to submit is July 30th. So they'll have like 6 weeks to prepare a letter of intent. Then after July 30th, the membership will narrow all of the applications down to 3 by August 15th by reviewing and voting on those proposals. Then there is a meeting with those top 3 organizations on Sunday, August 22nd. We'll figure out a time as soon as possible. However, on that meeting day, those organizations will have 10 minutes to present and likely 10 minutes for Q&A. Then from there, everybody will vote, and those 3 organizations will end up getting 50%, 30%, or 20% of the collected pool of funds. And then from there, funds are distributed in September. And then you can even give your 2021 membership by the end of the year if you wanted for tax advantage purposes. And then the organizations are asked to send a report by March 11th of the following year. So that's the timeline that was created. Now, in doing the kickoff event, what are we hoping? Obviously we want to get as many people invited as possible. But I've seen on Clubhouse people scheduling events. So Khadija, I don't know if you were able to hear back from Alex Fox or anybody else on Clubhouse to see if they can help us schedule an event.
Yeah, so I'll tell you, so we can do a couple of things for Clubhouse. So there's 2 huge Muslim clubs. There's Muslimas that has, let me double check, I'm opening up my phone right now. So Muslimas, we have about a little over 13,000 people. So for Muslimas, I could easily create a room because I'm an admin for that. So we don't need Alex for that. The only thing would be really good, I think Dima brought this up to us on the side, is pinging certain people that have huge followings so we can get more people into the room. Like Alex, Samaya, there's also Christina. There's a lot of people in the Muslim community. You can look at the membership portion of the club to see who's part of what. Did we distinguish? I'm just kind of confused. Did we just, because Muslimas is great. We can definitely have a room on Muslimas, but Muslim and Friends has over 25,000 people. I know this is a Muslim Women's Giving Circle, but I think it would be nice for the brothers to hear in case they have sisters, wives, whoever that wants to get involved too.
Mm-hmm.
So we could also, I personally think Muslim and Friends is a good idea, but also Muslim is fine too. I think the issue is that we also have to talk about, like, do we want it to be an open room versus a closed room, right? So a closed room is only limited to people who are members of that club.
Okay.
Whereas an open room, basically anyone in your network that follows you can see it. I mean, it would be good advertising regardless if we left it as an open room, right? So even non-Muslims would come in, they'd be like, oh, this is cool. Like, what is a Muslim women's giving circle, right? I'm personally okay with that. I think it's important that the moderators and whoever is on that room is okay with that too, because I know there's some Muslim women who feel very anti like having men in the room. I'm okay with it. But yeah, I think this is something we should talk about. I think Muslim Friends it's a good club to host the room in. Like we'll definitely target Muslim women, but we'll also get other, you know, a bunch of other demographics too. We'll get men involved, we'll get non-Muslims involved as well. But that's just my opinion.
I mean, I don't mind taking a vote on that. I definitely agree that leaving it open is best. Like, again, I don't have a large following and I'm still kind of navigating. I'm not a social media person at all. It's funny, but I know a lot of people. So it's, my biggest question is, do you have to have somebody follow you in order to invite them into a room? Is that how that works? I keep getting confused.
No. So okay, so if you're trying to make someone a moderator, you have to follow each other, right?
Okay.
So for instance, Alex follows me, Somaya follows me. I've done a couple rooms with them, so we have to follow each other to make each other moderators, right? So to have people on the stage, you don't need to follow each other, but to create a room and to make each other mods, you have to follow each other.
Okay.
That makes sense.
Yes.
Khadija, I missed the first one. Are you talking about Muslim Women Professional Group?
Oh no, I'm sorry. There's a group called Muslimas, not Muslim
Muslim.
Women Professional. Yeah, Muslimas is way larger than Muslim Women Professionals. So Muslimas and Muslims and Friends, those are two clubs that Alex Fox created back when like Clubhouse was not even popular, about like a year and a half ago.
Do you think there's a lot of cross-pollination between the two, and or do you feel like there are more women in the Muslimas one, but the Muslim and Friends might just have a broader outreach?
Yeah, I think that's a very good thing you brought up. There are definitely, I think for Muslimas, like maybe it's worthwhile for us to discuss to have like two separate rooms, like one under Muslims and Friends and one under Muslimas. We'll definitely target a larger demographic of women, Muslim women under Muslimas, right? But I find that Muslim and Friends, there's like a younger age demographic and there's like more excitement for like projects. And there have been other rooms in the past where people invited like the CEO of Nominal and like other like Muslim organizations. So I've been seeing a lot of like spotlight series of like Muslim orgs under Muslims and Friends, but not under Muslimas. Muslimas is more like random topics and like ranting and stuff like that.
So why don't we, my advice, and you guys can make the final decision, is why don't we start in the Muslim and Friends, and then maybe even the next day or plan another one concurrently for Muslimas, right? So we can have two events on Clubhouse and people can join whichever one. It might take a little bit more to plan, but if Alex is the moderator on both, you know, why don't we set it where we stick to the Friday, March 26th as the official launch at 5 p.m. Pacific with the Muslim and Friends. And then before the end of March, plan another one in the Muslimas one. So is that something you think would be feasible?
Yeah, I think it's a good idea personally. I think it's good for us to target Muslim and Friends first and then do like a follow-up room under Muslimas.
I'm sure there's a lot of crossover between Muslimas and Muslim and Friends.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Afshan, are you on Clubhouse?
I'm on Clubhouse. That sounds good to me. I'm kind of agnostic about this because I don't know enough about the power of Clubhouse.
Sure.
So I will defer to
And
yeah.
okay. So Sadia, Mona, Ola, like if you guys want to be part of the conversation, I think, you know, that would be great. Dima and Khadija, you guys can kind of lead it. If you want one of you guys to be the moderator, obviously we can loop in Alex and bring her up to speed on what the initiative is so that she can be part of the conversation as well. If you, in the Muslim and Friends one, if you want me to be part of the conversation, I will, but I don't need to. And then I would just say do the same thing for the Muslima one. And you guys can lead that one on your own. Do you think you would have time that weekend to do one for the Muslima one? Like, should we try to find a time that works for a majority of you?
Yeah, we can definitely do one. Also, Muslims has already set programming. So every Saturday they do a sister spotlight series. So technically I could bring it up to Alex, and maybe we can just do a spotlight on the American Muslim Community Foundation for that weekend, and make that as part of like the typical programming under Muslims.
That would be awesome, Khadija.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I can definitely bring that up to her. Okay.
I have a question in terms of who is the leadership for the Women's Giving Circle, because I think it's really important to have the moderator question the leadership of the Muslim Women's Giving Circle, because I think, you know, if you guys are doing a lot of the work, we want to highlight you, you know what I mean? We want to ask you the questions, and, you know, maybe instead of them being the moderator, they're actually the person who's getting questioned.
Yeah, I agree. So that is one of the items I wanted to solidify today. And I know, you know, Afshan, Mona, Khadija, there's another person who's been on the previous calls, Fasiha and Dilara, have all mentioned that they'd be fine with being on the leadership of this group. And whether it's a formal position like chair or vice chair, or just being like a committee lead, any and all participation is appreciated. So Sadia or Dima, even if you guys want to join that, I know you guys have a lot of other stuff going on. But if this is something that you want to, you know, add a few hours a month behind, then we can add you to that leadership list. The one thing I will say is we just need one person from the leadership. It doesn't have to be the chair or the vice chair, to sign an MOU with AMCF. And that's just going to be the main person who says, the group voted this, please send X amount to Y organization. And of course, like, we'll be involved in all of that. So we'll know, you know, who's being selected and which organizations and stuff. But just for legal purposes, we need to have one representative from the Giving Circle. It's really no liability. You know, we're holding all the funds, like the person doesn't have access to the funds or anything like that. It's just to simply inform us that the Giving Circle would like to give to that organization. So if any of you would like to be that point person, let me know and we can have the MOU taken care of.
As much as I appreciate the offer, I am sinking all the time. So for me, I want to support the effort because I truly believe in giving circles, and to be completely transparent with the group. I don't know if many of you were on the original call, but like, I have my own Muslim Women's Giving Circle locally as a grassroots effort. And our long-term objective is to create other smaller grassroots giving circles in other cities. And I feel like this is a great opportunity. And like I said, I'm a very transparent person. I look at this as a huge opportunity to, if I can learn and connect with other impact Muslims who feel the same passion as they do about the national concept, maybe they would become great chapter leaders in their cities for future opportunities. And so I will be happy to promote the national concept, just because, again, fundamentally, I believe in it. I mean, you guys are going to see how exciting it is when you are part of the process. So whatever I can do to help you guys get the ground up and running is I'm happy with that. So I think, you know, if you just
Dima, we can use me, I think, for the event. if we're looking to interview someone as like, what is this about? Why are we doing this? I'm happy to step up and feel comfortable like being part of that conversation. But I think there is an issue here in that I don't know if we as an organization are at a point yet if we have solidified some of those details, and I don't know what would need to happen for that to happen. But I think for the purpose of this clubhouse kickoff, like
Mhm.
I'm totally fine with being that person.
Perfect. And Ola as being a staff member, I don't want to put you in the in a place that you don't want to go to, Ola. But if you want to be part of the conversation as well, obviously you can be. So I know you just started, but we would love to have like you represented as well. And then in terms of like,
Thank you so much. I appreciate that. I just wanted to clarify that, like I said, I was on the initial call talking about the idea of the giving circle, and I'm really excited about it. I think I also don't want to bite off more than I could chew now. I think I'm
for sure.
starting with Mahi on my official duties as a fellow, so I want to make that my central focus.
Makes
If
sense.
the role, I'm happy to do that. I'm happy to follow the conversation, and actually just seeing this giving circle form is really important to me because I've talked to Mahi about interest and maybe potentially starting other ones in the future. So it is very important to me as a learning process. And if it makes sense for somebody like me to be that point person that you said would sign the MOU, since I'd be working with Mahi on other things and also nonprofits, I'm happy to do that and play that limited role, but maybe I could talk to Mahi about that later if nobody else steps up for that.
For sure. And as a lawyer, you'd be great to review the contract and point out things that we should probably add. But I think it's a pretty decent step. And if nobody else wants to be the person who signs the MOU, then we can definitely have Ola do that. But
I don't mind being that person as well.
Awesome. So that'll be preferred. That way it's somebody external to the organization as well.
Sure.
So that would be good.
What does MOU stand for? I'm gonna
Memo of understanding. Memorandum of understanding.
Memorandum of understanding. Okay.
Yeah.
I'm a lawyer.
Perfect. So Afshan, we can take care of that offline. Really at this point, like, what do you feel still needs to be done before we just start heavily promoting it? Do you feel like content on the website needs to be more clear? Some internal things, obviously we can go into leadership of trying to select, a chair, a secretary, and elections coordinator or people on the grants committee. So would love to try to fill in some of those roles as well.
I think what I've seen is we have to cast a wider net on getting the funding. So I think I would say Clubhouse is one stream. We have people who are 50 and above with deep pockets. They will not be on Clubhouse. They will not be on Facebook. So do we have a marketing for them or something to think about in the future? So multi-layer marketing for this is extremely important.
That's great.
That's one thing. Yeah.
Dima, what were you gonna say?
I was just actually going to say, I agree with Sister Mona, but that Khadija would also be a great person to interview, especially her experience on Clubhouse, the fact that she is in the Giving Circle. Like, we really need to tap into the fact that she is a member and, just kind of ask her about why she's so interested in it and things like that. So it's good to have at least two people to.
Yeah.
Well,
and
I think
obviously she's the one who's networking us in terms of we want to be able to spotlight her since she's doing the major connections to bring that following.
I wholeheartedly agree.
So Dima, would it be better to just do Khadija?
Organizations. Sorry.
I'll go. Dima, would it be better for the event just to highlight Khadija in that instance then, since she's already part of the community. I don't have like any connection or anything on Clubhouse. So if it's like a cleaner process, then I'm like totally happy with that, to just
I think
spotlight Khadija.
so. From my personal experience, like the best rooms that I've been in and the rooms that I've hosted in is like just a general conversation that the moderators have with one another, right? So if we can just set the tone of like, why is sisterhood so important? Why is giving back to our community so important? Why are we passionate about this work? Like, why do we give a damn at the end of the day? I think that's important, and I feel like that's not like I feel like from this conversation, it looks like Dima and I are going to be moderators, but Afshan, like, I still think you can still contribute a ton to this conversation, and it can just be a general talk between the three of us, right? Talking about our work, what do we do, and ultimately just shed some light on this whole Muslim giving circle. That's just my 2 cents, but I think you being in the conversation only helps it, because then it doesn't look like it's like a script out conversation between like Dima and I, right? It's like we're bringing someone else who's also involved into this.
Yeah, I would also add Mona into that.
Yeah.
In terms of how we promote it, do you feel like having all 4 of you on the flyer makes sense, or just you and Dima, and then bring Afshan and Mona on stage, so it's more of a conversation at that point?
For me, I think it will be very helpful on, sorry, my
No, I'm sorry,
internet
go
is
on.
choppy, so I missed it. But I think from the perspective of a nonprofit, because I've been recipient of a lot of giving circles, so that is also very important. If there are people with smaller nonprofit, why should they apply to giving circle? What is in it for them? So that perspective, I think, is easily something that I can help with.
Perfect.
I
So
think-
Mona,
I
will
think
you
all-
join the?
I'm sorry.
Sorry, go. Mona, will you join the Clubhouse event?
Sure.
Then I think it would make sense to just have all 4 of us on the flyer, and we can specify that Dima and I are moderating, but it's the 4 of us having a conversation.
Perfect. So if we can replicate this for the Muslima group as well, would you want to do, and obviously this is your guys's weekend and your guys's time, so I want to be mindful of all of that. So if the event for Muslim and Friends will be Friday, March 26th, do you want to do the Muslima one before or after that? And my only preference is that it's before the end of March, right? So that people who want to pay monthly or quarterly have the ability to do so. And to Muna's point, like, do we need to do a separate Zoom for it as well? Just so that there's, multi-layered marketing, right? So those 3 events would really help in kicking it off. So do we need a separate clubhouse just for Muslima? And what time also works for a Zoom?
I have a follow-up question. Are we considering doing another event, like not a joint event, just a Zoom event, whether that be next month or another time?
To promote it, that's what
To
I'm
promote
hoping.
it.
Yeah, that's what I'm hoping either the Muslima and the Zoom event would be, and hopefully by the end of this month.
Honestly, for me, let's say in Dallas area, because I already have few people who were ready to jump on this, and they would be happy that this is getting started at a national level. And the people that I'm aware of, they are way more comfortable on Zoom. So have a local event even before Ramadan, so that they start thinking about zakat. So April 12 or 13 is Ramadan, and before that, just a local promotion of this is also coming to Dallas. Here is how we can help.
Okay. And I would encourage still making it a national conversation, right? And I'm comfortable if you feel like still doing it before Ramadan is a good timeline. So, I want to hear like what's a good time frame for the Muslima Clubhouse group, and then for the Zoom call as well.
Well, if Dima and Khadija are going to be moderating that conversation as well, then I think that I will defer to them, but I am okay with any time that works with them.
Just out of curiosity, just to make sure I have everything correct. Friday, March 26th is going to be at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time for the Clubhouse event, correct?
Muslim and friends, yeah.
For Muslim friends. Okay, now, I think the next step would be, so you want us to host another Zoom event for some of our other sisters who are not in Clubhouse.
Exactly.
Um,
Anytime before Ramadan.
So are we talking 3 events, Muhi, for a launch?
Potentially, yeah. If you feel like the Muslima one is necessary, then yes, 3.
I don't add to this too, but and maybe I'm already sounding old fashioned, but I feel like an Instagram live would also be helpful for promoting something like this, because, and I'm talking maybe like a busy mom who doesn't, it's hard for someone like me to commit sometimes to like a Zoom on a weekend or something like that that's set. I'm sure maybe those could, I don't know if they could be recorded and shared, but something you're scrolling and there's an Instagram live that you can catch up on later that you can see at any time. I feel like those kinds of things, to be honest, I get, I am much more likely to see those or watch those than something that I have to commit an RSVP. So it doesn't have to be an Instagram live, but something that's recorded that people could refer to on their own time, I think would be really good too.
Of course.
The Zoom can be on Instagram and Facebook and recorded as a webinar, I think.
Yeah, so we can look into the integration for Zoom to Facebook, and I just haven't done it, but I'll look into the steps that it would take. If we did an Instagram live, maybe it could be between, only 2 people can join at that point. That's the limitation. So I think, we could do it between AMCF and Muslim Women in Tech or something like that if we did decide to do Instagram live, but I think the Zoom could suffice, and we could always upload it to Instagram after, right?
So that brings up, you want to cross over so you don't have to do double the work. Khadija, I just noticed that with Zoom, Thursdays usually seem to be a good time to hold Zoom meetings. At least it has been for our group. That is a very diverse group.
Yeah, same actually, especially after, like Thursday after 5 p.m. PST is really popular.
So I was thinking maybe it would help us to try and do the Zoom piece first, and then we can kind of, I know it's only a day turnaround, very short notice, but maybe like we can kind of prep ourselves, like see how things flow, and then
adjust the
make
conversation.
sure that Friday would be really on point. You know what I mean? That kind of practice run. Because we would probably, I'm assuming, pull in a larger audience on Clubhouse versus that first initial Zoom meeting. What are your thoughts?
Yeah.
So you're referring to March 25th, right?
Yeah.
Muna, do you think that timeline would work? Thursday, March 25th for your friends, and then what time frame is usually good for a weeknight?
Definitely Thursday, because the target group for me, at least the Zoom, would be professional women, 9 to 5. So it has to be after that.
Okay.
But I think anytime, ample notice, 3 weeks or 2 weeks notice is ample for them.
So if we did it at 5 p.m. PST, 6 p.m. CST, that shouldn't be an issue?
Not at all. Not at all.
Okay. And then for the Zoom conversation, like I know, Dima, I don't want to take more of your time, but would you want to be part of the Zoom one and the Clubhouse one, or do you just want to be part of the Clubhouse one?
No, I don't mind at all because
Okay.
for me, it's practice makes perfect. You know what I
Perfect.
mean? So for me, I feel like that we would probably have a larger audience
Yeah.
with the clubhouse, and it would prep. So if I really sucked on just kidding, on Thursday, I can fix it by Friday. So I'm just
Sure.
sorry guys. My words are.
No, it's okay.
I
And
like
then-
this plan too. I think
Yeah.
if we start off with a Zoom event on Thursday, that kind of assuages more of a wider
Totally.
audience who prefer to use Zoom and
Yeah.
maybe are not necessarily like interested in Clubhouse. And because Clubhouse, Dima, and Khadijah's rooms that they moderate have quite a large audience, and I know that a lot of people are using it, then we will have a ton more exposure there.
Right.
I'm with Ola. I think that there should be a Facebook Live event just because that's like one of the personal ways that I was planning to reach out to my
Yeah.
networks. And I think if we do it in a way where it's not necessarily like a conversation, it could be a conversation, like you said, with, the tech group. I don't know what that would entail. It could also just be a conversation with some of us kind of joining in, including that group. That way you have like a larger sense of exposure because the more people that join into your live, the more people in their networks will see it as well.
Sure. So I think we can do the Zoom to Facebook Live for the Thursday, March 25th. But I'm still going to create a registration form for the Zoom so that we can try to collect as much data as possible. And then we can publicize the clubhouse to those people who sign up as well. And now for the clubhouse Muslima group, when would
Wait,
you
just
like to
one,
do that one?
Muhi.
Yeah.
We didn't see if Khadija could do the Thursday. That's
Oh,
really important.
Sorry.
Yeah, I was just looking. No, it's fine. I was looking at my calendar. There might be a time conflict on my end. How long is the event taking place? Like 30 minutes, 45? Like how long are we planning to do it for?
It wouldn't be more than an hour. And if you had to jump off after the first half hour, I think that would be fine. Because
Okay.
you could state your piece and then other people could answer Q&A and stuff.
Okay, then that's fine. Okay, I can do it then.
And that's a good point. I should check my calendar. And actually,
Yeah.
it will work. I do have class that goes until 5:45, but I can leave early. So that's not a problem.
Dima and Khadija, do you both feel like there needs to be two, or we should have, or there is capacity for two events on Clubhouse, or should we right now be aiming for one?
I'm going to let Khadija answer that one because I'm not as versed.
Yeah. Ideally, it'd be nice to have two. I think having two clubhouse rooms all in 1 month might be a lot. Maybe it's something to bring up like closer to Ramadan. We can probably have one on Muslimas.
Yeah.
But I think it's good for us to prioritize the Zoom on Thursday the 26th and then Thursday 25th, and then do the Muslim Friends room that Friday right after, and just have those two events for this month and keep it as a thought.
Just looking at the calendar, would that first full week of April from the 5th to the 9th be good for the Muslima one? Or do you want to go like right before Ramadan on that weekend?
How about, is it better from a marketing standpoint to do it before Ramzan or to do it like perhaps at the beginning, but like within Ramzan? I don't know when we'll have softer hearts.
Sure. That's a good point. I would leave it up to you guys to kind of say like, and Khadija, you're probably the most familiar with that Muslima group, just based on the activity and other events that they've held. So feel free to make the call on when the best time would be.
Yeah, I personally, it's just like, I know everyone has a different way, like how they want to spend their Ramadan, but I don't want to be spending it on Clubhouse doing any promotions or fundraising of any sort. I like to do all my fundraising efforts before Ramadan, so I don't have to focus on that. And I think it's personally, I can't do it from like an intentional standpoint. But if we want to do it like right before Ramadan, I'm so down to doing that. But I don't want to be like promoting
Sure.
anything or during that month.
And do you feel like a weeknight or like a Friday or Saturday, Sunday is better for that group?
I feel like weeknights work the most, honestly. Yeah, there's always a large turnout. There's like at least 300 women that come to like every
Solid.
single room. So, and it's kind of Muslim is interesting because the demographic, it's like there are some people in the UK, there's some international people.
Sure.
There's
Yeah.
also some people based in the US. So I personally think Muslim and Friends is where we're going to get the most attraction. That's my personal opinion. And at least we can advertise more on that. And because we are going to get a lot of brothers and non-Muslims on there too. So if they know Muslims within their community, Muslim women in their community, they'll bring this up to them at some point.
Totally. So looking at that time frame for April, what do you guys feel works best for a weekday?
I'll tell you right now that that week I'm going to be personally crazy because our second quarterly meeting is on April 8th. So prior to that is a lot of work for me and my team. So I'll be more relaxed on Friday the 9th. Prior to Ramadan, I can offer you that. And the weekend prior to that second, I have a 3-day volleyball tournament for my daughters. They play competitive volleyball and we travel all the time. So we're going to be in Atlanta that weekend. So it's going to be crazy.
Okay. Would Friday the 9th work for you, Mona and Khadija and Afshan?
Yes.
Yeah, it should work.
Awesome. And again, is that 5 p.m. PST the sweet spot or?
Sounding that way, I think.
Yeah, I'm not sure about Fridays, to be fair. Like Fridays are a little bit tricky in terms of finding a good time. But it is Clubhouse. I think we're still gonna get attraction regardless because people tend to listen to rooms when they're doing their errands and going by their day. So
yeah.
Okay,
so it looks like Thursday, March 25th at 5 p.m. PST for Zoom, Facebook Live. Friday, March 26th, 5 p.m. PST for Clubhouse, Muslim and Friends. And Friday, April 9th, 5 p.m. PST for Clubhouse Muslima. So Khadija, if you don't mind taking the lead and working with Alex on scheduling those as soon as possible, that would be great. And then we can create a flyer with your guys's information and the time. I'm thinking it makes sense to just make one flyer with all 3 dates. And then maybe for the Muslima one, do a separate one just because it's a few weeks later. Would that be okay?
yeah, that makes sense.
Okay.
What was the time for Thursday, March 25th?
5
again?
p.m.
5 p.m.
PST.
I think we're all sticking to 5 p.m. PST.
Yeah.
Okay, so it's 8 p.m. my time. Got it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This has been super phenomenal. We made so much progress. Do check out the website, offer any feedback to Afshan. What I will say is like from going forward from here, like obviously I know Afshan, you'll sign the MOU, but look at the planning document as well and look at the different leadership positions. So if one of you want to be chair, or we can formally hold elections with the entire group, right? So really it can go a few different ways, but I'm okay with the core leadership kind of deciding where they want to fit in, at least for the first year. And then year 2, we can look at a more formal process. And we've been very clear with the rest of the members we've been inviting each time that those who want to participate need to step up, and you guys have continuously stepped up. So I appreciate your time and commitment for that. I know a lot of other people who still aren't making it are super down and interested and are waiting until we finalize all these details to get it out the door. So I think now that we have that plan, we'll just start seeing a lot more participation, growth, and interest in it all. So Thank you all.
Yeah, and also a side thing, Afshan and Dima, if you at some point want to schedule something on the side, we can talk about just how to use Clubhouse, like what functionalities you have as a moderator, and like best practices. Because yeah, I've done a couple, and there are some trolls on the app, but there's also ways of making the room like really enjoyable and not like awkward in any sense. But yeah, I'm more than like happy to set up some time to talk to you both on the side about that.
Definitely. I think we have to talk again.
Yeah, we do.
We have to like really figure out.
It's really fun. You'll like it. It's like I said, as long as you're doing it with like 2 people or a group of people that you feel comfortable with, just having a conversation, it's gonna be great. It's like think of it as like a podcast
Right.
at the end of the day.
So if the 4 of you take time to, meet once at least before the 25th, do you want to look at calendars now to set that time?
Yes, let's get that, because that was my next concern.
Yeah.
Is like I want to be able to talk to you guys specifically about, okay, how do we do this?
So pretty much
Meanwhile,
gives you 2 weeks.
This week. I mean, this week is actually kind of, I don't know if like on a Thursday, ladies, we can talk again, or even
Thursday looks less crazy on my end for this week. Yeah.
tomorrow. Okay.
What about Afshan and Mona? Does Thursday work for you both?
Yeah. Thursday anytime
Okay.
works for me.
what time Thursday?
For me, I'm free after 8 p.m. EST.
I'm
Yes.
free after 9 p.m. Is that too late for you guys? Is that okay?
For me, it's
9
not too late.
p.m. EST.
Yeah, so like I can do it like 9 p.m.
That's
me, it's fine.
8 for me.
That's
which is
that's fine for me.
Okay.
Okay.
Michelle.
Perfect.
All right.
So
Inshallah, March 11th. Muhi, you want to set that Zoom call up?
Yeah, of course. Is this something that, would you mind if I send it to everyone again, or do you want to just keep it to the 4 of you to keep it easy?
I think it would make sense to keep it for the 4 of us,
Okay.
just so we can talk about logistics and go into details
Sounds
on
good.
things, and we're all on the same page, the 4 of us.
Awesome. I will set that up for all of you. So I know we're past time. This has
Yeah.
been awesome. It's really exciting to see this like come together. And again, I want you guys to like run with it going forward. I'll set up the meetings from here on out, but if in this call next week as well, or on Thursday, if you guys can also try to focus on some of the leadership stuff. What I will do is I'll include the other people who've identified that they want to be part of the leadership. So I won't send it to the entire list, but those 2 or 3 other people who said that they want to be part of the leadership, I'll include them on this invite.
And is it okay if I also share some of the structural documents? Muhi, I
course.
promise them.
Yeah.
So I have the structure
Yes.
that I worked on. So that's something we can maybe pick anything, whatever. So I can share
Yes.
with you, Muhi, and then I don't know who else here.
Yeah, if you share it with Afshan and I, or even
Okay.
just people, that I invite to this meeting on Thursday, that'll be perfect.
Okay, I'll do that.
Awesome. Okay, thank you so much, everyone.
Thank you.
All right, salam.
Nice to
everyone.
set the rest of-
Hey, movie, can you look at the chat?
Yeah.